Hello, and in this part 2 cue card video, we'll look at this topic. Describe a person you know who loves to grow plants. So these are the things that you need to cover in this topic. Let's start by looking at the useful language. Sister-in-law. Your sister-in-law is the wife of your sibling, your brother or sister, or the sister of the person you are married to. Sister-in-law. Very useful for this topic. If a person has green fingers, they are very good at gardening. To have green fingers. She has green fingers. She was brought up in the suburbs. The suburbs are places with lots of houses, outside of city centres, on the outskirts of towns. To be brought up in where she was raised, looked after, lived with her family. She was brought up in the suburbs. When we use according to, we mean somebody else has said this or reported this. It's very useful for IELTS writing as well. According to. You could use it in task 1 if it's task 1 academic, according to the chart. Or you can use it in task 2, according to recent studies. According to. If you take over something, you take full responsibility for it. You take control of it. Completely took over the whole garden. Miles away from anywhere. So this cottage, a small house, was a long way from where other people live. Miles away from anywhere. To commute, a very useful word for IELTS speaking and IELTS writing. To commute, the verb accommute, noun, and it's a trip that you regularly make between home and work. And a person is called a commuter. If something is a sight to behold, it's amazing, it's beautiful. You look at it and say, wow, a sight to behold. A great verb for this topic, to cultivate, and it means to prepare the land, to dig the soil, to grow the plants, to cultivate. Herbs are what we use in cooking to add flavour, things like basil, oregano, thyme, these kinds of things. Herbs. Spices, these are flavours that we also put in food. They can be things like cumin, paprika. These are spices. Greenhouses are what we use a lot in the UK because we have a lot of cold, wet, windy weather and it keeps the plants warm and dry. A greenhouse. Now, where you live, you might be able to grow these kinds of fruits, but in the UK, which is quite cold, it's not possible to grow fruits like this. So we call them exotic fruits. Exotic fruits. Immaculate is a great adjective and it means very neat and tidy. You can talk about an immaculate house that's very neat and tidy, or an immaculate garden. Here, the lawn, the grass is immaculate. The scent of a flower or a plant is what it smells like, a scent. To weed, when you have a garden, you often get lots of weeds. Weed is a noun, it's also a verb. To weed, to remove wild natural plants because you don't want them, because they often cause damage to flowers that you might have planted. To weed. If something is back-breaking, it hurts your back. Back-breaking work. Blisters, they often occur on hands or feet, and they look like this. Blisters. So she has blisters on her hands from gripping the spade. The thing on the far right is the spade, and what the hand is doing is gripping. The hand is gripping a weed, I think, there. To grip, to hold very tightly. Gripping the spade. Nothing beats. If we say nothing beats, it means this thing is the very best. She says nothing beats the peace of mind and tranquility you get from being close to nature. So there is nothing better than this feeling of being quiet and peaceful when you are close to nature. All your worries melt away. They disappear. She gets a real buzz from gazing out at her work, from looking at her work. If something gives you a buzz, it gives you a feeling of excitement and pleasure. A buzz. Okay, now I'll read through the model answer. The person I've selected is my sister-in-law. She is obsessed with gardening and definitely has green fingers. She was brought up in the suburbs where they had a medium-sized garden. According to her mum, she started growing sunflowers when she was tiny and completely took over the whole garden before she started primary school. When she married my brother, they chose a cottage miles away from anywhere, specifically because it had a massive garden with loads of sunlight, even though that means a 2-hour commute to work for both of them. That garden really is a sight to behold. It contains various sections. Roughly a third is dedicated to food. They have fruit bushes and apple trees, an area for cultivating vegetables such as beans, a corner just for herbs and spices, and a greenhouse where she grows exotic and tropical fruit. There's an immaculate lawn, and the rest is flower beds. She grows a vast array of colourful flowers. Their scents are unbelievable at times. She spends half her life there, digging, planting, weeding and watering. It's back-breaking work at times. She's usually got blisters on her hands from gripping the spade, scratches on her arms from the roses, and insect bites on her legs. She says nothing beats the peace of mind and tranquility you get from being close to nature. All your worries just melt away. She gets a sense of satisfaction and a real buzz from gazing out at her work and seeing it looking lovely. And there's the added bonus of all those wonderful fresh ingredients to cook with. Okay, it's quiz time now. If you get a feeling of excitement and pleasure from gardening, it gives you a buzz. Buzz. Which verb means to hold something tightly in your hand or hands? To grip. Grip. What do we call a painful swelling containing liquid which appears on your skin? A blister. A blister. My sister was in charge of the business, but when she left, I took over. Took over. If a person is very good at making plants grow, we say that they have green fingers. Green fingers. The pyramids in Egypt are a sight to behold. Sight to behold. They live miles away from anywhere. Miles away from anywhere. A book I read recently, you should only water plants early in the morning. According to. According to.